Let me ask you something, and I want you to be completely honest with yourself. When was the last time you stood up for yourself without feeling guilty? When was the last time you said no and didn't spend hours afterwards worrying about how the other person felt? If you're struggling to remember, then this video is exactly what you need. Because what I'm about to share with you might be uncomfortable. It might challenge everything you've been taught about being a good person, but it could also be the key to finally breaking free from the invisible chains that have been holding you back your entire life. You're exhausted, aren't you? Not just physically tired, but emotionally drained, soul tired. You wake up every morning with this weight on your chest, this invisible burden that you can't quite name. You go through your day trying to keep everyone happy, trying to avoid conflict, trying to be the peacemaker, the understanding one, the reliable friend, the supportive partner, the dutiful child. And at the end of the day, you collapse into bed, feeling empty, feeling like you've given everything and received nothing in return. You've been taught since childhood that being nice is a virtue, that good people put others first, that kindness always wins in the end. Your parents praised you for sharing your toys, for not making a fuss, for being the easy child. Your teachers rewarded you for being quiet, for following rules, for never causing trouble. Society applauded you for being agreeable, for going with the flow, for not rocking the boat. But here's what nobody told you. All of this conditioning wasn't designed to make you happy. It was designed to make you controllable, to make you predictable, to make you useful to others while keeping you small, keeping you silent, keeping you in your place. The famous political philosopher Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wasn't the villain that history often paints him as. He was simply brave enough to speak the truth about human nature and power dynamics. In his groundbreaking work, The Prince, he revealed something that most people still refuse to accept today. Pure goodness, divorced from wisdom and strength, isn't just ineffective, it's dangerous. Dangerous to you. Think about your own life for a moment. Who gets promoted at work? Is it the person who works the hardest, who never complains, who always says yes to extra tasks? Or is it the person who knows their worth, who negotiates, who isn't afraid to showcase their achievements, who gets respect in social situations? Is it the person who agrees with everyone, who never has a strong opinion, who always goes along with the group? Or is it the person who stands their ground, who speaks their mind, who isn't desperate for approval? The truth hurts, but you already know it. The world doesn't reward the nice ones. It uses them. It takes advantage of their generosity, their flexibility, their endless capacity to forgive and forget. And then, when they're no longer useful, when they're burned out, when they have nothing left to give, the world discards them without a second thought. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of all time, had a different but equally important perspective on this. He believed that we all have a shadow side, the parts of ourselves we've been taught to hide, to suppress, to be ashamed of. Your anger, your selfishness, your desires, your need for recognition, your hunger for power. These aren't evil things. They're human things. But when you spend your whole life denying them, pushing them down, pretending they don't exist, they don't disappear. They grow stronger in the darkness. And here's where it gets really interesting. Jung discovered that people who try too hard to be good, who reject their shadow completely, often become the very thing they're trying not to be. They become passive-aggressive, manipulative, resentful, bitter. They smile on the outside while seething on the inside. They say yes with their words, while their body screams no. They give and give and give, and then one day, they explode. Or worse, they implode. They develop anxiety, depression, chronic illness, all because they've been at war with themselves for so long. You see, being too nice isn't actually about being kind. It's about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as selfish, as difficult, as unlovable. You learned early in life that love was conditional, that you had to earn it by being good, by being helpful, by being easy to deal with. And so you developed this strategy, this unconscious pattern of behavior designed to keep you safe, to keep you loved, to keep you included. But this strategy has become your prison. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you betray yourself. Every time you apologize for things that aren't your fault, you diminish yourself. Every time you put everyone else's needs before your own, you abandon yourself. And slowly, over years and decades, you lose touch with who you really are. You become a ghost of yourself, a shadow, a reflection of what others want you to be, rather than who you actually are. Machiavelli wrote something profound. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Think about that. People aren't responding to your true self. They're responding to the image you project, the mask you wear, the role you play. And if that image is one of endless availability, of infinite patience, of having no boundaries, then that's how you'll be treated. As someone who can be pushed around, as someone whose time isn't valuable, as someone whose feelings don't matter. But here's the thing Machiavelli understood that most people miss. You can change that image. You can reshape how others perceive you. Not through manipulation or deception, but through authentic strength. Through what he called virtù. Not virtue in the moral sense, but effectiveness, competence, the ability to navigate the world as it actually is, not as you wish it were. This doesn't mean becoming cruel. It doesn't mean abandoning your values. It doesn't mean turning into the very people who've taken advantage of you. It means developing what Machiavelli called the wisdom of the fox and the strength of the lion. The fox sees through deception, recognizes manipulation, understands hidden motives. The lion commands respect, establishes boundaries, refuses to be prey. Right now, you might be thinking, but I don't want to be calculating. I don't want to be strategic. I just want to be myself. But here's the painful truth. You haven't been yourself for a very long time. You've been performing a role. The role of the good person, the nice one, the one who never causes problems. And that performance has been exhausting you, draining you, killing you slowly from the inside. The psychologist Alfred Adler, a contemporary of Jung, had another piece of this puzzle. He believed that all human behavior is goal-oriented, that we do things not because of our past, but because of what we're trying to achieve in the future. So ask yourself, what is your niceness trying to achieve? Is it trying to avoid conflict? To prevent abandonment? To earn love that should be freely given? When you understand the goal behind your behavior, you can start to question whether that behavior is actually achieving what you want. Is being nice really keeping you safe? Or is it making you a target? Is it really earning you love? Or is it attracting people who only value what you can do for them? Is it really avoiding conflict? Or is it creating an internal conflict that's far more destructive? The modern psychologist Harriet Breker wrote extensively about what she called the disease to please. She found that people who compulsively seek approval often come from backgrounds where love was inconsistent, where they had to work hard to get positive attention, where being difficult meant being rejected. These patterns get so deeply embedded that they become automatic. You don't even realize you're doing it. But awareness is the first step to freedom. Once you see the pattern, once you understand the fear driving it, you can start to make different choices. Not easy choices, but necessary ones. Choices that prioritize your well-being. Choices that honor your truth. Choices that might disappoint others, but will save you. Because here's what Machiavelli knew, what Jung knew, what every great thinker who studied human nature knows. The world is not a fairy tale. People are not inherently good or bad. They're inherently self-interested. And that's not cynicism. It's realism. It's understanding that everyone, including you, is trying to meet their needs, trying to avoid pain, trying to find happiness. The problem is that you've been taught that your needs don't matter, that your pain is less important than others' comfort, that your happiness should come last, if at all. You've been programmed to be a giver in a world full of takers, and until you reprogram yourself, until you learn to take up space, to use your voice, to stand your ground, you'll continue to be consumed. So how do you change? How do you stop being too nice without becoming someone you're not? First, you need to understand that kindness and boundaries are not opposites. You can be a deeply caring person who also says no. You can be generous with those who deserve it and closed off to those who don't. You can be warm and also strong, soft and also firm, loving and also self-protective. Second, you need to practice disappointing people. I know that sounds terrifying, but it's essential. Start small. Say no to a request that you normally would say yes to. Express a different opinion. Ask for what you need. Watch what happens. Most of the time, the world doesn't end. People adjust. They find someone else to help them. They respect you more, not less. Third, you need to examine your relationships. Who in your life only contacts you when they need something? Who makes you feel drained after every interaction? Who gets angry when you try to establish boundaries? These people are revealing something important. They don't value you. They value what you do for them. And that's not friendship. That's not love. That's exploitation. Fourth, you need to get comfortable with conflict, not seeking it out, but not running from it either. Conflict is just incompatible needs bumping into each other. It's natural. It's human. It's necessary for growth. When you avoid all conflict, you avoid growth. You avoid authenticity. You avoid real connection. Fifth, and this is perhaps the most important, you need to develop self-compassion. You've spent so much time and energy being compassionate toward others. But what about toward yourself? When you make a mistake, do you forgive yourself as easily as you forgive others? When you're struggling, do you give yourself the same understanding you give everyone else? When you need rest, do you allow yourself to take it without guilt? The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who greatly influenced modern psychology, wrote about the concept of the will to power. Not power over others, but power over yourself. The power to choose, the power to create your own values, the power to live according to your own truth rather than inherited beliefs. This is what you're really seeking, not to dominate others, but to stop being dominated, not to hurt anyone, but to stop hurting yourself, not to become selfish, but to include yourself in your own circle of care. You know what's really interesting? Studies in social psychology have shown that people who are too agreeable, too nice, too accommodating, are actually less likely to be successful in their careers, less likely to have satisfying relationships, more likely to experience anxiety and depression. The very behavior that's supposed to make you likable and successful is actually sabotaging you. But there's an even deeper level to this. When you're constantly nice, constantly available, constantly saying yes, you're not just harming yourself. You're enabling others to remain immature, to avoid taking responsibility, to never develop their own strength. Your niceness, meant to help, is actually keeping people dependent and weak. Think about it. Every time you rescue someone from the consequences of their choices, you rob them of a learning opportunity. Every time you do something for someone that they could do themselves, you communicate that you don't believe they're capable. Every time you absorb someone else's emotions, you prevent them from learning to regulate themselves. So, in a strange way, being too nice is actually cruel. It's cruel to yourself, and it's cruel to others. It keeps everyone stuck in dysfunctional patterns. It prevents growth. It maintains unhealthy dynamics. It perpetuates suffering. Machiavelli understood that sometimes what appears cruel is actually kind, and what appears kind is actually cruel. Setting boundaries might hurt someone's feelings in the moment, but it teaches them respect. Saying no might disappoint someone today, but it preserves your energy for what truly matters. Being honest might be uncomfortable, but it creates real intimacy. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about becoming a narcissist. It's not about lacking empathy. It's not about using and discarding people. That's just the opposite extreme, and it's equally unhealthy. What we're talking about is balance, integration, wholeness. Jung called this process individuation, becoming who you truly are, not who your parents wanted you to be, not who society says you should be, not who you think you need to be loved, but who you actually are. Shadow and light, strength and vulnerability, kindness and firmness, all integrated into one authentic self. This is the real work, not perfecting your mask, but taking it off, not adding more layers, but peeling them away, not becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop trying so hard to be liked, you become more likable. When you stop chasing approval, you gain respect. When you stop sacrificing yourself, you find people who value you. When you stop being nice, you can finally be kind. Real kindness. The kind that comes from strength, not fear. The kind that gives from abundance, not deficit. The kind that chooses to help rather than feeling obligated. But this transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey, and it starts with a single step, one boundary, one number, one moment of choosing yourself, and then another, and another, until it becomes natural, until it becomes who you are. The people in your life will resist this change. They've gotten comfortable with you being the giver, the helper, the one who never complains. Your transformation threatens their comfort, their easy life, their ability to avoid their own growth. Some will try to guilt you back into your old patterns. They'll call you selfish, cold, different. You've changed, they'll say, as if that's a bad thing. But remember what Machiavelli taught. It's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not feared in the sense of being threatening or dangerous, but feared in the sense of being someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who cannot be controlled, someone who cannot be used. Because here's the ultimate truth. You can't save everyone. You can't make everyone happy. You can't be everything to everyone. And trying to do so is not noble. It's delusional. It's a form of grandiosity, thinking you're so important that everyone needs you, that without you, they'll fall apart. They won't. They'll figure it out. They'll find their own strength. or they'll find someone else to lean on. Either way, it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your own growth, to your own happiness, to your own life. So I'll ask you again, how long are you going to keep playing this role? How long are you going to keep betraying yourself for the comfort of others? How long are you going to live as a supporting character in everyone else's story instead of being the protagonist of your own? The choice is yours. You can close this video and go back to your patterns. Back to saying yes when you mean no. Back to apologizing for existing. Back to shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Or you can make a different choice. You can decide that today, right now, something changes. That you matter. That your needs are valid. That your voice deserves to be heard. That your life is yours to live. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that uncomfortable truth hitting home, then share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's drowning in their own niceness. Someone who's forgotten their own worth. And subscribe to this channel, because this conversation is just beginning. The journey from people-pleasing to self-respect is long, but you don't have to walk it alone. Comment below and tell me, what's one boundary you're going to set this week? What's one thing you're going to stop tolerating? What's one way you're going to choose yourself? Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read to find their own courage. Remember, the world will take exactly as much as you're willing to give. So stop giving yourself away. Stop sacrificing your truth for others' comfort. Stop living in fear of disapproval. Because at the end of your life, the only approval that will matter is your own. Did you live authentically? Did you honor your truth? Did you choose courage over comfort? The time for being nice is over. The time for being real has begun. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, you'll lose some people along the way, but you'll gain something far more valuable. Yourself. Your integrity, your freedom, your life. So take a deep breath, square your shoulders, lift your head, and step into your power. Not power over others, but power over yourself. The power to choose, the power to say no, the power to be disliked and be okay with it, the power to disappoint others without drowning in guilt, the power to be human, flawed, real, whole. This is your invitation, your wake-up call, your permission slip to stop being nice and start being free. The question is, will you accept it? Will you finally choose yourself? The answer to that question will determine the quality of the rest of your life. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Choose yourself.